Hi there, El Scorchy here. And last weekend, I was invited to the Smash Bros. Cast, a podcast all about Smash Brothers. I joined N64 Josh, Nightcrawler, and Mock Rock to discuss the future of DLC for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and how we think it could work. It was a very insightful conversation full of cool theories, and I'm glad N64 Josh let me re-upload it on my channel for your enjoyment. So without further ado, here is our conversation on Smash Ultimate DLC.
You're listening to the Smash Bros. Cast, episode 31. I'm your host, N64 Josh. On this very, very special episode, we are doing a roundtable with El Scorchy. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up? I'm El Scorchy.
Mock Rock, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And Nightcrawler, of course, player 2. What's up, buddy?
Hey, twice the fun here this week.
Yeah, 2 episodes in 1 week. This is exciting stuff. So, before we like jump into the Smash talk, let's get to know El Scorchy a little bit. Give us the lowdown. Like, tell us about your content, your history with Smash, that kind of stuff. Just break it down for us.
Cool, sure thing. First of all, thank you for inviting me. This is gonna be fun. So
wait, let's even go back just a second. We started debating on Twitter, and then
we really met through a Twitter argument.
Yeah, we were arguing, and I went. I mean, it wasn't heated. We were staying. It was, it was.
But I am a little bit of a loudmouth, so I remember, like, I think you said something, and I was like, awful argument.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
how you started. I was
like,
oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna reply to this guy. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Let's do it. And then I click on his bio, and it says, like Smash Bros. YouTuber or the Smash Bros. Content creator. I was like, hey, bro, we both create Smash content. You wanna collaborate? He's like, well, sure. So,
and I'm like, I'm always down for a debate with a little like devil emoji. Yeah.
So anyway, here we are. Let's hear about your content, your videos and stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a pretty new content creator. I just started making videos about 3 months ago. I just make a lot of like Smash related content, Smash Ultimate related content. I used to make content before and be involved with the scene, but then like I decided to just like start from scratch, a new persona, everything, boom, and start very like well branded, well produced kind of content.
Yeah, good for you.
So you're interested in any kind of Smash Ultimate video essays, gameplay, theories, debunking leaks or whatever, that kind of stuff. Working on a lot of that, live streams here and there. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do, and just making videos.
What's your history with Smash? Like, how long have you been playing?
So my first one was the 64.
Okay.
Very first Smash. Played a crap load of that. Played a crap load of Melee when it came out. I skipped out on the Wii actually, so I never played Brawl too much, to be honest.
Like the only person that didn't own a Wii. How did that happen?
I don't know. It just never appealed to me for some reason.
Did your grandparents have it, like most people, or? No?
Yeah, I don't know. I was more of a I don't know. I just skipped on it, and then I would just go play at a friend's house to play the Wii or
to
whatever.
Go play bowling,
then,
which was the only fun game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Tell me that doesn't like make you anyway.
Everyone listening just got a huge nostalgia blast.
Yeah, exactly. That little sound is just like, oh my god. And then just playing a lot of Smash 4 when that came out. I skipped on the Wii, but I was like one of the 2 people on Earth who had a Wii U.
There you go, attaboy.
And then played a lot of Smash 4, and then started joining the. When it comes to the competitive scene, I really started watching tournaments and all that kind of stuff around 2015, Apex 2015. That was like one of the first tournaments that I watched. Okay. If I remember correctly, that one like PPMD won for Melee and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty hype.
Nice.
And then from there, just started going to tournaments in 2016 and getting involved with the scene and all that kind of stuff. So it's been pretty fun.
Cool. All right, Mock Rock, how about you, bud? Tell us about your channel and your content.
Yeah, okay. So it's honestly kind of a similar story for me. So I do a lot of sort of video essay, edit-heavy stuff based around Smash. I put one a couple of days ago up about how basically all the transforming characters in Smash I've been very unimpressed with until Ultimate's Pokemon Trainer, which is like the coolest character ever made. It's a lot of analysis type stuff. In terms of my actual background in Smash, I was introduced to it in Melee, basically went over, played it at a friend's house, and was immediately in love with the entire thing, and kind of never stopped.
Right.
And I've been fairly heavily involved in the Smash 4 competitive scene, including somewhat organizationally. I do the thumbnails for my locals. I'm sort of one of the go-to commentators. I compete, of course, and usually do, well enough. Top 8's not out of my reach at all. So that's sort of more or less where I'm coming from. I just basically love everything about Smash, everything about other platform fighters. I often sometimes, put Rivals content or Icons Combander or Rest in Peace content on my channel up. So that's sort of what I'm all about. I just like platform fighters in general, and Ultimate haunts my dreams at night.
I love it. I love it. So one of the things that we do with the Smash Bros. Cast is we like to focus on like tips and things like that for people that are wanting to improve. Crawler and I started this show I started about 6 months ago. He jumped on probably about I don't know, after 6 episodes, I think he had jumped in with me. And we've just been striving to get better at this game, like to get better at Smash, right? And so we've had to play Smash 4, and we're having, my hands get cramps from using my 3DS. Like I'm playing on the GameCube. I mean, that's not my only option. I play on the game, or I play with the GameCube controller on the Wii U as well. But like, I will, just to work on neutral game, I'm on my DS, like, so I can like watch TV with the wife and things like that, just so like I'm practicing as much as I can. But what maybe we can start off with you guys giving some tips or pointers that could help other people maybe get involved with locals, get involved in the competitive scene, like, and I mean, I know a lot of it is just like, you just have to practice. Like there's not like a simple formula, but maybe some things you do for practice, or, some things you did along the way to improve your game. Scorchy, you want to start with that?
Sure. That's a pretty big question, but if I can, first of all, I would recommend that, if you have a Wii U pad, you're probably better off practicing on the Wii U pad than on the 3DS. If you want to like use it while playing TV or whatever, you can even prop it up and still use the GameCube controllers.
Right. Yeah.
But also when it comes to gameplay, and this is a pretty basic thing, but I always tell it to like people who are trying to like start, they want to play more competitive, like they really want to start getting good, is that when you really break it down to its more basic elements, Smash and any other platform game or any fighting game for that reason, it's like just a match of rock paper scissors times 100. So in every situation, there's like options that you can do. A good example that I like to use is like ledge get-ups, for example. Like when you're on the ledge, there's like basically 3 options. 4 options actually. You either roll onto the ledge, you either attack onto the ledge, you jump, or you let go and then re-grab. Right? Those are basically your 4 options.
Sure.
And I see a lot of people always go for the same one. They always like, I'm always gonna roll into the ledge, for example. And it's like in any kind of situation like that, you're holding shield, you're grabbing someone, you're holding to the ledge, you're trying to recover. In that moment, think of all the 4 or 5 options that you might have in that moment and always mix it up. Don't try to always go for the same thing, because that's a really bad habit that a lot of people who are newcomers to the game have. So really start thinking about like, okay, what are ways that I can mix up my recovery with my character? Maybe I can side B onto the stage, I can up B into the stage, I can like do all these kind of things, and start bringing that into your gameplay and mixing it up.
Gotcha. Mockrock, how about you? What would you say?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this while Scorchy's talking. There's sort of 2 big changes that I made throughout my time in Smash 4 that kind of took me from a sort of, rank amateur to someone who I think can confidently say knows what he's doing at this point. So first one, watch what your opponent is doing, not yourself, right? So this is a huge one. So if you notice, for example, that they jump when you down tilt their shield, that can mean that you can get a free up air on them. And depending on your character, that can lead to 30, 40, 50%, or just straight up kill them. So those are the critical moments that can really, really have a major impact on a match. And the other one is because you do need to be watching your opponent. That means you need to be very consistent with your own movement. So by far the most valuable training time I've ever had, you go into training mode, you don't hit the CPU at all, you just run around the stage. You practice your short hops, you practice your perfect pivots, you practice your trumps. You need to be extremely comfortable just seeing your character in the corner of your eye and being confident that you know where to go. Those are kind of the big changes I made that far more than anything else impacted my playstyle.
I see. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So Scorchy, you got kind of our first topic that we're gonna cover, right? We're gonna one of the things we're gonna discuss is like what we think DLC is gonna be like for Smash, correct?
Yeah. I got a couple of ideas. Basically, let's open up the floor, I think, and start talking about Smash DLC. One thing, I think a good question to kind of start it off is, so I've been seeing, like, at least with the Switch, how Nintendo's doing DLC. And we have two versions of DLC. There's the Zelda Xenoblade kind of way, where it's like a season pass and you start getting some updates at first, and then you get like a significant update at the end, which is like an expansion, a story expansion. And with Spirits mode being a thing, could potentially be something that they try, where they do, Spirits Part 2 or something like that. Who knows? Okay. Assuming the Spirits is story mode, which, seems logical so far, but we won't know till we know. Or are we going to get a Splatoon system where we get like, very, weekly, bi-weekly small updates, and then, every 3 or 4 months we get like a significant update that might be paid, or it might be tied to your Nintendo Switch Online. Who knows? And
careful.
And who knows? I mean, they did give out free gear in Splatoon for people who signed up
to
Nintendo Switch Online. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, Crawler, what do you think, man?
Well, I mean, we talked about this probably like 2 weeks ago, I think, and we talked specifically about the Splatoon style, and I would be hopeful for that. I mean, say any way to save money, because the Wii U DLC was, what was it, for everything? I don't even have all the stages, but all the characters I got across both 3DS and Wii U, I think it was like $50. I mean, it was expensive, and I'm hoping that maybe they learned something from Splatoon, see the success that they had, see the amount of people that continued to play and support that game for so long, by giving the free 4 weapons every 2 months or so, and the remastered. I think most of those stages weren't even new stages. I think they were all remasters from Splatoon 1, which I didn't play, so they were all new to me. But if we can get drip content like that's a new stage occasionally, or a new two character, or new, like, for me, I think the biggest thing, by the end of this roster, every single character could have an echo, and that's not anything that we would maybe necessarily need to pay for. It's just it's a slight change to a palette swap, and maybe a slight move change, and that makes the echo. So it could be that easy.
Mockrock, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I like that point about the echoes, because they really open up the lines for DLC so much, right? Like, I think it may be a little optimistic to expect free echoes. After all, they are still technically new characters. And if you look at the reaction to someone like Chrom or Dark Samus, or, these guys were not reacted to like they were Echo Fighters. They're reacted to like, oh my god, this is a new character, right? But what I would expect to see is, it would be awesome if maybe they're way cheaper, right? So a new batch of DLC gets announced, and you have like, your regular $4.99, $5.99 characters, and then maybe there's like a pack of 4 Echoes for $5.99 announced at the same time, something along those lines. Because I think Smash Ultimate seems kind of like they're in it for the long haul, right? It seems like Sakurai and his team are setting this definitive Smash game for a very, very long time. So I'm expecting to see a lot of DLC, which generally would imply drip-fed content, and having these kind of echoes just sprinkle out throughout the entire thing would be a really cool way to stretch it out, right? If you have a longer release window between fully fleshed out new characters, put some echoes in there. No one's going to complain about it. I want as many echoes as you can possibly stuff in Ultimate. Please, just give me all of that.
Oh yeah, Waluigi could be a Peach Echo, no problem. I mean, same.
Bayonetta.
She's a family-friendly show.
Well, Peach already has the tennis racket and the golf club. That needs to be Waluigi's moveset.
No. But Bayonetta has the dance moves. That's what I'm saying.
I hate the dance moves going on right now.
From Aces. Exactly. Yeah, that would work.
Let's dance, boys.
Oh man. So I'm thinking that by the time Smash Ultimate's done, I think it's gonna have 100+ character
that wouldn't shock me.
roster. And
I was saying, sorry, keep going.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see, like, since everybody seems to be playing pretty nice with Nintendo now, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Konami DLC pack, a Capcom DLC pack, a Ubisoft DLC pack, maybe even an Xbox deal, like a Microsoft
Rare
DLC
Xbox,
pack. Get Minecraft Steve and Master Chief and maybe Joanna Dark and Banjo and Kazooie and that kind of the stuff that people have been kind of wanting. But I think those will be a premium price. You know what I mean? I think it'll work as marketing for those other companies, for their brands, while at the same time, like, making Smash one of the, like, crazy, it already is, like, so crazy and so diverse with characters that to see so many more would be unreal. But I mean, I don't know that I kind of am with you guys too. I think we will see some drip fed content. Maybe it won't be characters, but maybe costumes, maybe maps, you know.
Yes,
that
skins.
kind of.
Why is this not a thing already?
Yeah, there could be. And I mean, look, if Nintendo's looking at Fortnite, not that I want to see them go with that model necessarily, but I mean, they literally make millions off of skins.
Yeah.
Right.
It is the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I made the mistake of making a video on my channel comparing Smash and Fortnite. Now you bring it up and saying, like, these are things that Fortnite is doing really well that Smash could learn from. Of course, the dislike bar on that video is like crazy, but like some of my points were that it's like you could literally just have like cosmetic updates that are not connected to the Mii's, because the Mii customs were ugly as heck.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, no one liked that. So bringing that into, like, you know, DLC packs for existing characters, one of the many things, and I was just gonna say, I really want cosmetic updates that go beyond Mii costumes. One thing that I really would love is N64 pack, so all the 12 veterans, the original 12, get their N64 look, and the sound effects too, like the poing, like Japanese.
And we know they can do that because of Mario Odyssey.
Exactly, just like that. That would be, honestly, here, Nintendo, here's my $10. Give me that.
Well, and didn't they say the original stages from 64 are gonna be a little blocky?
Exactly. So imagine if you keep that aesthetic and also have the 12 original characters with their N64 skins. That would be pretty cool.
I love it. I feel like you're messing with my heart, so, you know, be careful.
Well, the biggest thing about DLC, we talked about this when we were talking about it couple episodes ago, but the fact that Josh, you bought Ryu and Bayo, and that locks you out from being able to just go purchase everybody.
Yep.
Now, right? So you have to pay more money if you want to have the full roster in Smash 4, because you made the mistake in Nintendo's eyes of purchasing just a one-off character. And I wouldn't be opposed to spending the $50 that I spent in Smash 4 if it got me the season pass. Like, when I bought the Xenoblade season pass, they didn't really tell us anything about it, and that ended up being a terrific value for what it is, because you got Torna at the end of it, but you knew that you were building towards something, but they didn't tell you what it was specifically, and you got these small little drip fed stuff in like in-game items for DLC for Xenoblade for that time, but then it ended up paying off very, very big at the end with what you got. So if I can throw them my 50-60 extra bucks at the very beginning, and it guarantees, kind of like Paladins or some of those other hero shooter or even like Arena of Valor, those games where you're buying like the heroes, you pay that upfront cost and you're guaranteed to get them for the rest of the time. I'd be okay with that. I just don't want to get nickel and dimed.
Yeah.
I feel like, unfortunately, Smash 4 was like the final attempt for the Wii U to appease investors, and they pushed the DLC price as far as they could without the community absolutely rioting. Like, I was glad they did the a la carte, because I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know what the total cost ended up being. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I
think it's crazy high if you get the Mii costumes and everything.
Yeah, I want to say
why you don't do that.
It was also super expensive for Mario Kart 8. I remember the DLC for Mario Kart 8 was ridiculous on Wii U. That's why I waited until the Switch version to actually get like everything.
I mean, I want to say Mario Kart 8 was like, I think it was like $19.99, and you got, you know, I think
two characters and 4 tracks, and then you had to do it again with a second DLC pack. So you were spending like $40 of extra content.
And it may have been, I remember buying it up front and saved $10 on it. Is all I remember. You know what I mean?
Like a pre-order bonus.
Like you just bought the season pass or whatever.
Yeah. Going back to that, like, I personally think, and I wonder if this is happening, because I also am seeing in the chat right now a lot of people talking about echoes. Are echoes worth it? Like, why would you want to pay for an echo? Like, I don't get it. But what if, like, maybe they go into a thing, because for Wii U, there was really no way to monetize like an active fan base on Wii U, right? Like, yes, your game is getting people coming back, but how do you monetize that for them, right? Now you have Nintendo Switch Online and you got to pay to play online. And a lot of people, for Splatoon is different, because everyone who plays Splatoon will get Nintendo Switch Online. Like, they will, or else you can't play the game.
Right.
For Smash, it might not be the same story, in the sense like not everyone who plays Smash will get Nintendo Switch Online, right? Specifically talking about the casuals, but maybe you reward the people who do. And then, if you have Nintendo Switch Online and you're getting monetized because you're getting back into, you're an active user and you're paying every month or paying every year, maybe you get either discounted DLC or DLC for free, just because you are, part of the Nintendo Switch Online.
So you bring up a good point about Switch Online, and I hadn't thought about this until just right now. But any of you get, like, way back when Xbox Live started, I think how I started was in Halo 2. I had a 3-month free subscription to Xbox Live. They definitely toned it down. I think it's down to like 2 days or
7
a week now,
days,
like
maybe.
if you get it. But do you think we'll see maybe something in the box if you're getting a physical thing with Ultimate, to get like 1 month free of Nintendo Switch Online?
There's some possibility of it. Like, this is really their flagship game of the year, right? This is what they're really trying to use to convince everyone, hey, the Switch is worth it if you haven't bought one already, and it's the game they're trying to use to tell people, hey, online is worth it if you haven't gotten it already, because you want to be able to play Smash online. So there's potential, but it seems a little un-Nintendo-like, right? Like, Nintendo really doesn't tend to push their online service anywhere near the same degree that other systems do, and they kind of tend to keep it very segregated, and they're kind of known as the family-friendly one, so they've always been a little bit, I feel, anxious to push children to buy too much extra stuff. That's kind of where I think their minds are coming from. So it's possible, but out of the 3 major consoles, I would consider Nintendo the least likely to do something like that.
Yeah. At the same time, I think that this Smash is going to have a long DLC lifespan, in the sense, like, look at Splatoon, it's still getting DLC, and it's been like almost 2 years at this point, right?
They're catching
I think
up.
they're committed through another couple months at least of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and this is supposed to be the ultimate Smash game, right? Like, whatever comes after in the next generation is probably going to dial back quite a bit, and like kind
of. Zachary even admitted that. I think in his last interview, he said it's going to be very hard to nail down the licensing that they've worked out for this game, and just the fact that everything is in this game. It's going to be impossible kind of to try to get back to that level.
Yeah, so this one will get probably, like, I wouldn't be surprised, like up to 20 DLC characters, even more with echoes being a thing. Like, it'll be crazy.
Well, and the amount of content this game has is so different than everything else that's been launching over the past, little while. Like, we've all seen, I think there was like a meme that went out that was like, it shows like what games used to be, and it was like a hamburger with everything on it, right? And then it says what games are now, and you have to buy you maybe get the meat, but you have to buy the bun separately, the lettuce separately, all that kind of stuff. And like, here comes Nintendo with Ultimate, that's like the most insane roster ever in a fighting game. Like, just
most
absolutely,
stages ever.
Yeah, 20
over 300 variations of the stages.
28 hours of music, and it's not like this music is just something that's being thrown together. Like, we listen to each song each week, and it's like there is a full, like, amazing band, or orchestra or whatever behind these things. Just like this is like a high level production. And not to mention, I get to turn my Switch into the best MP3 player ever, so I'm really excited about that.
And awkward MP3 player.
But they're gonna sell a Smash Bros. Fanny pack that I'm gonna have to buy because it says Smash Bros. On it, and it'll fit my Switch and have a little spot for the headphones to plug in. Hopefully, it's vented well though, because you don't want that thing overheating. Be careful.
It will.
So, but I mean, here is this game is a complete package. They wouldn't even need any DLC, but like, this game's probably going to be the top-selling game on the Switch. That's my guess. And your top-selling game, like, Nintendo had the top-selling game on the Wii was Mario Kart, 30 million copies, and they did not have the ability to do DLC for that. You know how
That's
much
if you don't
money
count-
was
That's if you don't count
left
Wii Sports.
on the table? Like,
I
so
don't think you count Wii Sports. I don't like
well,
this whole pack-in games being counted
yeah.
as the top selling of all time thing. No, get that out of here.
it was. I mean, yeah. Sorry, 80 million Wii Sports, but you know, still there was no way to do DLC. Now they said they want games as a service, so DLC is going to be a thing for this game, and I think it's going to be welcomed because all it's going to do is give people more options, even though we don't need them, right? Like, is there really somebody that you really need added to this game? No, but at this point, like, let's just keep the party going, right?
Yeah. What eases my mind a little bit in the sense of like how badly they're gonna get like nickel and dime and like squeezed for profit is that it's releasing at the same time as a Pokemon game. So I know that they're gonna be getting a Pokemon game too. So it's not gonna be like, you know, Pokemon Let's Go is gonna be way bigger than Smash Ultimate at the end of the day. That's just the nature of the beast. But that kind of eases my mind in the sense like Nintendo's not loading all their bullets into this game. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a make it or break it kind of thing. So,
okay, speaking of Pokemon for just a sec, so I have not played the newest generation game, but I'm going to say Decidueye is the coolest one they've come up with in a long time. When did the talk switch from him being the rep to Incineroar? Because at some point there was a switch, and I don't get it, because Decidueye is like 1,000 times more interesting to me. I love that, like the bird archer thing. I want that. Like,
I believe
want
it's
more
because
archer characters, I want flying, all that stuff.
I believe it's because Ash has an Incineroar on the anime.
Is that how it works? Okay.
I think that's why. So yeah.
So this,
even though
this archer bird could be an echo to one of the champions in Breath of the Wild.
God, here we go.
Right? I mean, 'cause that's the other thing too, as far as DLC. Like, I can't imagine the champions from Breath of the Wild not making their way over into
we
Smash.
don't need two Falcos. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but the internet loved that, like that fish prince or whatever he was, right? Like he was so beloved. Like everybody'd be buying that guy.
Yeah, and you can't even say that he doesn't do
He's not
anything in
even
the
a
games because Sheik never does anything either. And yeah, I mean, look at her. She's been a consistent top tier in like multiple games. It's like, okay, put Stein in, make him a top tier. No one's going to complain about it. Do it. Yeah, I got no argument against that.
Oh, man. So, you know, it's really going to be interesting. And because the nature of the internet with DLC and microtransactions and that kind of thing, I really hope Nintendo... I want to see more content for this game. I want them to really make just good like consumer first choices on this one that like you know, the internet's gonna be mad no matter what. Like they're, you know, as soon as they mention DLC, there's gonna be people that said, why don't they just include it in the original game? Like, you don't have enough already. Like, you would think at this point, like, is there not enough in this game that you can't be okay with them doing DLC after the fact? I mean, it seems crazy. And you got to wonder about the price of this game as far as like getting all that licensing and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's got to be insane. The development costs for this game have got to be pretty insane. Now, you know, because they did use the Wii U engine, that kind of stuff, I'm sure that helped cut some of the costs. But I mean, it's just a port, right? That's all.
Yeah, the naysayers are nowhere to be found.
Yeah, we're still on this.
I remember how everyone was like, "Oh, it's just a port, it's just a port." Then we had the August 8th direct, and like no one said anything ever again.
Yeah.
And as soon as you play it, you realize it's not a port.
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
But to your point, yeah, like I do hope that, you know, I think DLC, good DLC, that it's meaningful and it's worth it. It's totally worth it. Like, I want good DLC for a game that I love. Of course, why not? I don't want the game to be abandoned. It's just like you said, I hope it's consumer friendly. They're not like charging you for silly stuff, you know, like, you know, pay $2 to start an online tournament with the online tournament system. It's like, no, bad Nintendo, bad.
Pay $3 to get the back air for your main.
Yeah, well,
pay $3 for
Sakurai's project. He hates that kind of culture. Like, the reason that Smash DLC has been so fair at this point is entirely because of how positively Sakurai views the gaming industry, right? The reason that Smash 4 DLC ended when it did and why he was hesitant to put it in the first place is because he was afraid of feeling like he was exploiting fans. Now, for the record, exploit me all you want. Give me my DLC. But
Yeah.
As long as that guy is at the helm, and Nintendo in general is fairly good with their consumer practices, but especially when Sakurai's in charge, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm just not. He's been so good to his audience so far.
Yeah. And to I'm just seeing Mr. Cool Red Luigi in chat. To his point, yeah, like what I feel like what really they need to keep tracks on is like, for Smash 4 they did the DLC and then they abandoned the game because they started working on Ultimate. Now we know that. But they kind of dropped Bayonetta and it's like, yeah, so long, bye. And we were all like, hey, this needs balancing, my dude.
Yeah.
And then they listened and nerfed her into the ground, and she's still ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
one more pass would have been very much
because of
wasted.
I think Ultimate is going to have a super long lifespan. Hopefully it's not like.
Well, and we've talked about this on our show, but like, look at how fast Nintendo moved with Aces when Bowser Jr. was so OP, right? Like, it was like 2 weeks or less they had something out, and then they had another one out shortly after that. Like, they immediately took action, and I think we're gonna find real quick what the tier list, the meta, all that stuff for Smash Ultimate is, and I think it's gonna be watched pretty closely. The thing is, it's like it's really finding that balance of like, hey, this character is really cool. They're also really cool to watch. It's also like, playing as the Inklings. We talked about it with Vicky Kitty, and she's like, they're going to be a character that it's going to take. They're going to have a pretty high skill ceiling to get good with that character. Hopefully, it's not like one of those things that's like people finally start getting good, and then boom, they have to nerf it because people got too good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
the question is, do we get update 1 before Genesis drops, and that messes with how everyone's going to play it?
Nintendo does what Nintendo does.
There's 3 weeks there, so they might.
To be honest, there's nothing wrong with a character being top tier. Like, you see games like Melee where Fox is definitely the best character in the game, but it's not a Bayonetta situation. It's not like the whole top 8 at every tournament. It's like all Fox. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
then you have Hungry Box and Armada that come in playing different characters than that. So
yeah, and you have Mewtwo King still kind of mixes it up a bit. You have really good up and coming Captain Falco players. You have Zane with Marth. Like it's still, there's nothing wrong with a character being top tier. Like, there's nothing wrong with Bayonetta being top tier. But when she was like overpowered and the meta was just all around, can my character beat Bayonetta or not? Then that's when it's not great.
So realistically speaking, though, yes, there usually is going to be a character that is the best, or at least is perceived as the best, so is played enough to cement people's opinion that she's the best. But your goal should always be to try and avoid that being the case, right? So there was a period in Smash 4 after Bayonetta's nerf, before people kind of realized, oh, okay, so she's still broken, where people genuinely did not know who the best character in the game was. And as a spectator, it was the best period of Smash 4, hands down. This is the time where, you'd see Zero pull out the random Lucina, or Bowser being pulled out by Nairo, and people are talking about a counterpick meta, and then suddenly all these top players are using all these wacky characters because they feel like they have the freedom to do so. And it was an incredible string of tournaments. You saw Sue pulling out ahead with Lucario and doing all this stuff, right? And then things kind of started dying down, and Cloud and Bayonetta are just kind of objectively the best options to use if you're serious about winning. And that character diversity just plummeted, which was a real shame to see, and maybe unavoidable to a certain extent. But every patch brings characters closer and closer together, right? And that should always be the goal, and it should be your goal on launch day to have your balancing. So some characters are always going to be better than others. You cannot possibly balance a fighting game in a way that everyone is just as strong. But squish them together as much as you can make it.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of character diversity, I thought Big House had a pretty good representation.
That was great.
It was an enjoyable tournament to watch this last weekend, and
but at the same time, a lot of Bayonetta mains weren't there. Lima wasn't there. Captain Zack wasn't playing Bayonetta. It was only Mistaken Salem, I think, like notable Bayonetta names.
And Salem got destroyed by
Ooh, did he?
Oh, that was a good stat, man.
Can someone Photoshop a red B emoji here right now? Let's go, Yeti. Let's go.
So, and Crawler, I think you may be able to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I believe after the Invitational, that a lot of the pros were actually they were consulted or had surveys and things to fill out to send back to.
I think Armada put out a video. I don't know if they had an official thing from Nintendo, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably consulted quite a bit with Zero. And
I was gonna say I thought I remember Zero mentioning something, but I don't want to take it with a grain of salt. I don't remember, but I thought that was the case. Which I mean, and we saw Sakurai with his little like watching Bayonetta and like
caught the early plane home to Japan.
Yeah. Like
and even then, I don't know if you guys listened to the Nintendo Power podcast.
Yep.
But there was a recent episode with Toph and JC from Nintendo Treehouse, and Toph, you know Toph, like the Tormentator.
Yeah.
And JC, and Toph asked JC, like, is the game, we saw it with the balloon physics and in the demo and all that kind of stuff, and some characters still being kind of, not greatly balanced. It's like, is that still the case? Is that something that you guys are looking at? And JC was really saying, hey, every 2 days, we get a different build of the game where like everything when it comes to combat has been changed. Like what you're seeing in the demo is not what you're gonna get at the end of the day. Like,
oh yeah, and we talked about that.
Yeah, and he was even saying like, I don't even know what we're gonna get at the end of the day. Like, we're still wrapping up development, and every 2 weeks we get something different.
That might be an interesting question, right? What do you hope we get at the end of the day? Like, what kind of changes compared to what we've seen so far at E3 are we really, really hoping go through before the final release? Because for me, I want hits done. Like, I want a lot more hits done than Ultimate currently has. I think combos are really tight, unfairly tight, not particularly excitingly tight. And I really want the ability for just every character to carry everyone else across the stage. I'm not necessarily asking for full melee. Like, can we at least get close? Because as is, I'm not impressed by the combo system. It's one of my few complaints.
Yeah. Let's smoky effect too. I find it a little bit kind of like, I'm trying to look at the character. Like, can you
Zero talked about that and saying that like doubles was going to be almost impossible for casuals to watch and understand because there's going to be so much happening on the screen that I mean, I can't imagine trying to commentate that just because it's going to be, I mean, especially put it on like on Great Plateau where that stage is just in your face. It's going to be nuts.
You can't even see your characters on Great Plateau, right? Like when that tower's there, you're like, oh, hey, where'd I go? Oh, look, there's my smoke. Like that's pretty much all you see is your smoke. If you didn't have your smoke, you wouldn't know where you were at all. When I played at PAX, I watched somebody like just jump off the stage, like and she just goes, I was like, why are you? Oh, I couldn't see myself. I didn't know where I was. Like she just with Kirby floated to her death. So but I mean, like what I'm curious about with Ultimate is are we going to see those combos get improved, or is it going to be like we're just going to have to find new ones, That's what I'm kind of wondering if it isn't like, because look, I play as Mario, right? We call it in the chat and everything the 1,000-year up tilt, right? Because that's all it is, which to me is pretty cheap. But when you see Mario do some combos where it's like the down throw to a maybe just a single up tilt, and then something that moves the character that you're fighting across the screen, right? So maybe you get an up air in whatever, and you can keep moving towards the edge. I love watching combos like that, but watching somebody just stuck in the vortex of that up tilt is like, it just feels cheap and it feels broken. But I think I agree with you, Mockrock. Like, I don't want him to sway so far away from that there's not combos at all, or at least that are harder to get. Like
it's a give and take. And some characters, like, you'll have to learn from scratch. I think I play Fox and Wii U I'm dual main Fox and NES, and like Fox I'm gonna have to relearn. Like, that's gonna be a completely new character now.
Yeah.
Or play someone else. Fox. Yeah. He's been done dirty in Ultimate.
Inkling. I'm gonna be
Inkling plays a lot like
Inkling has not.
like
Inkling
Fox.
looks cool.
Yeah. And they feel the Inkling feels like Fox. Speed wise and everything, when I played him, like that's what it felt like. I was like, oh, this is like a Fox with ink, and so it could be. Look at that smile. Do you guys see that smile on Scorchy's face?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hey, we're gonna have to wrap this thing up here. So, Mockrock, tell us where we can find you, all your content, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mockrock, all one word. It's exactly how you'd think it would be spelled. You're mocking rocks. And you can find me on YouTube at Mockrock. I don't know what the actual URL is, but I think if you type Mockrock in, and the first result at this point. So do that.
Perfect. Scorchy, how about you, bud?
You can find me on youtube.com/lscorchy. You can find me on Twitter at lscorchy, and you can find me on Instagram at l.scorchy. I post a lot of Smash memes, so I don't know, get on that. And yeah, watch my videos and all that kind of stuff, I guess.
Awesome. And Crawler, how about you, buddy?
Just hit us up in the Discord. You guys know my regular spots from the regular show. So n64josh.com/discord. Come hang out there.
Yeah, guys, and you can follow me on Twitter at n64josh and Instagram. Everything's n64josh everywhere. So you can even check out n64josh.com, which is where you can find the show notes for this episode, n64josh.com/sbc31, and you will be able to find the links to Mockrock and Scorchy in the notes. So, you know, you easily find them, be able to sub, that kind of stuff. This kind of cool. This video is actually going to go out on all of our channels, so you know, it's pretty exciting, pretty cool stuff. So, guys, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you for taking the time, for getting up early. Really do appreciate it. And another one in the books. Crawler, quick, what's the countdown, Crawler?
It was 55 yesterday, so 54.
54 days, guys. 54 days. So, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Later.
Man.